I'm Chef Jasper, and today we're in the kitchen making homemade brownies. Easy and delicious, but there's a special treat and something that we added that I think makes it absolutely delicious. We're talking about cherries, that's right. And I brought in with me the expert today, a man who, kind of like George Washington, never cut down a cherry tree, but he knows a lot about cherries. I think he's an authority on all produce. Jonah Gallen. Jonah, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
My friend, I had to call you because I know when any type of fruit I ask you about, whether it's an Italian gaguzza or a peach or an apple, you have a story behind it. So in the meantime, while I'm going to melt down some butter, you know, I don't play games, and I say a little butter. That's a little butter.
That's a little butter.
Come on. And with the butter, I'm going to add my chocolate chips. This will kind of cool things down a little bit here. Look at this, will you? I mean, these are easy recipes. A little bit of vanilla, a little bit of salt. Now, this is just going to melt down. We take it off the stove just for a minute, but we have to talk about cherries because 'tis the season. Come on.
You got to enjoy cherries. There's nothing like a great tasting cherry.
No, and look at this. Look what you brought today. Just unbelievable. Now, we have a couple of varieties of different cherries, but you are the master about, you know, produce, I say, and you're chasing the produce right now. You're looking for the finest, the sweet or the tart. I mean, everybody loves the sweet cherries.
It's always a journey, so we're always learning. And then cherries, you know, one of the great things about cherries is there's a lot behind it. There's a lot of different varieties, even though we all see red cherries. There's a lot of different varieties behind them. Varieties that do great early in the season.
Really?
And varieties that do great late in the season.
Well, I thought the longer they stay on the stem, I mean on the vine.
Once they're
We
ripe,
say vine or tree?
we say vine.
Vine, okay.
Once it's ripened, you have to pick it. If you don't pick it within a certain amount of days, you lost it. So it's actually a chase to pick it before you lose the crop.
Okay, okay.
So we're moving through different fields, different varieties. Like I said, you know, we really enjoy. I like a Lapin cherry a lot. The Bing cherries, actually, right now in the middle of the season, it's where you get your Bings. But there's a lot of really good varieties that get grown even in high altitudes.
So one of my favorites, and you taught me this a few years ago, the moon cherry has what to do with the atmosphere? I don't understand that one.
It's actually an altitude. It's half a mile closer to the moon because they're high elevation in the mountains.
So, you know, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when I said this to you. I said, so you said moon cherries. Are you like they grown on the moon or something like that? I mean, it was a stupid question I asked you, but I wanted to have some fun. Now I know a little bit more about that. I want to know also about Rainier cherries. Come on, these are golden red, delicious.
So if I recall it correctly, actually, Rainiers came back in 1952 from the University of Washington. And it's actually a cross between the Bing cherries and the Vine varieties.
Okay.
And that's how, with the cross on them, that's how it was created.
Well, I love cooking with cherries. People don't realize it. I mean, I think everybody thinks, you know, just grab them just like they are in the store when they're fresh, and you wash them off and you eat them. But there's so many different ways to prepare cherries and so many different ways to enjoy them. You say you like to freeze yours. So
you pit them, you freeze them, and then from there, possibilities are endless because you can have cherries all year round. Even though we're today, nowadays, because of logistics, transportations, and the advancement that we have, we actually chase the crop not only nationally, domestic, but that's how we get cherries in Thanksgiving and Christmas, is we go down to South America. You know, we even done cherries from Tasmania. So, chase them.
I didn't realize that. Well, I'm going to finish up with this recipe here very quickly. Watch. We're going to add just a little bit of flour here. See, I've taken it kind of off the stove. Not off the stove, but you saw me lowering the heat a little bit. We're just going to sift some flour. When I tell you easy, anybody can make this recipe. It's a great recipe to make with the kids. But more than that, when I tell you about the flavor of these cherries, cherry brownies, something really different, a little bit of cocoa. You know, we have to have cocoa. We don't have enough chocolate in there. A little bit of baking powder, not much. And then, as I mix this, oh, it becomes very, very gooey. We're going to add our sugar.
Great.
Oh my gosh. A little bit of sugar. And as we continue to mix this, it's not cooking anymore. But we want to incorporate everything, and then I know everybody's waiting for me to add the cherries, but I still want to mix my batter. I need to add the eggs, and I don't want these eggs to cook at all. I'm going to add one egg at a time. Just like when my mom, when I was younger, was making pastries or something, I was always impatient, and I wanted just to eat the batter or whatever she was preparing. But just one at a time, it makes a big difference. And it just takes an extra couple of seconds. Pop that yolk, fold in and up and around, and then our last couple of eggs, and then I'll add my cherries. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to fold the cherries in. You know, I'm kind of crazy about this, but I don't want to damage my cherries. I pitted the cherries already, and let me tell you something. They are sweet, maybe just a little tart, but I'm kind of, you know, on both sides. So I like them both sweet and tart, you know, a little savory. And
there's a balance to it.
And that's why I was asking you earlier about some different recipes. And I swear, we did not talk about this beforehand, but you and I had the same ideas about some other ways to prepare the cherries. They're just, come on, simple and delicious. And you were telling me one about making a tart. I do the same thing with a little tart with some pizza dough or really any kind of dough.
It really takes, you know, you take any kind of dough that you really enjoy, whether it's a filo dough, whether it's a pie dough, whether it's a pizza dough. And just, I love cheese. I just take your favorite piece of cheese, whether it's cream cheese, whether it's creme fraiche, whether it's a brie, you know, just put it in there, load it up with cherries, some brown sugar, some honey.
Oh, yeah.
Fold it over, let it bake in the oven, usually about 350, 400 for 20, 30 minutes, and everything comes out great with cherries.
Simple and delicious. I mean, people do a lot of savory things also. Have you ever seen when you get a tortilla shell, okay? And you get the cherries, just like I said, you pit them, a little bit of cheese, the cherries, you fold it over and put it in the microwave. I mean, like 30, 45 seconds, and you have a great snack. Of course, with whipped cream. Mm-hmm. You know, in cakes, it doesn't matter. Now, this is finished, okay? I just want to show you. We're just going to put our batter in here. Oh my gosh. I didn't leave much in the pan to lick and finish up with, but come on. But very, very quickly, while we're still talking, my friend, I'm going to make up some whipped cream because I have some brownies already prepared.
Oh, it's going to taste awesome.
Yeah, and I'm not kidding you when I tell you, I think this recipe may be just the perfect recipe. And you can add a little vanilla if you want to, or some, you know, flavoring. You could even do a cherry whipped cream. You know, we talked about that earlier, about doing some popsicles, cherry limeades. I mean, the list is endless when it comes to fresh cherries. It really is.
One of the things that my kids really enjoy, and I like giving them natural ingredients.
Oh, well, sure.
Something we can make at home. Just make an old-fashioned lemonade.
Oh, yeah.
Just lime juice. And then I actually save the cherries. I pit them and I put them in there. Then I have my little mold for popsicles, and then I just do summer cherry lemonade popsicles.
Oh, yeah, come on. You know, and a little, some facts about the cherries. I didn't realize this. I had no idea. The average tree has 7,000 cherries on it? No way.
And that's actually after thinning. So
after thinning.
So there's a science behind it. So if you left the tree bare, all the fruit, it does a great year this year, and then it actually does a really light year the next.
Okay.
Because it needs to recuperate on the nutrients. So the best practice, even though it might seem counterproductive, it's actually to thin it so you have a balanced crop every year.
Oh, that makes sense.
Consistent.
What do you do with those first cherries? I mean, do they use those? You eat those?
Those are actually at a very early stage, when they're very tiny, those are actually pulled out of the tree.
Okay, and that comes to a question I've been wanting to ask you. The size of the pit. I mean, different cherries, they're bigger. The pits must be much bigger inside.
No, it's not. It's actually a stone fruit. And by definition, in stone fruit, like peaches,
sure,
whether you have a small peach or a big peach, where you have a little cherry or a big cherry, if it's the same variety, the pits are the same size.
I didn't realize that. So you're looking for more meat on the cherry then?
So I personally prefer a bigger cherry because you're actually getting more of the fruit and less pit.
Makes a lot of sense, of course. And it doesn't matter what cherry, they're all the same like that. It doesn't
They're
matter.
all the same.
And we talk about different varieties, you know? I mean, if a cherry is darker, is it sweeter?
It actually has to do with temperature.
Okay.
So the temperature and the time on the tree, the amount of heat that it has during the day, and also the cool nights. So if you get enough chilling hours, if you get enough cold hours during the night, that's how the nutrients come back from the roots. So your sugar goes down during the day, during the heat to the roots, and then at night on the cooler temperatures, they come right back.
Well, you're kind of crazy about this, I know, because I've seen you with this little meter that you walk around with in the stores. I've been in the warehouse with you, and you walk around and you start testing the sugar.
So, and we actually do that with pretty much everything in the warehouse, even corn.
Really? Oh, yeah. You know,
So-
I interviewed someone about the corn one time. We talked about that.
So we actually test for the sugar levels in all the fruits, and we refer to it as bricks. So we have a meter, a refractor that we can actually measure the amount of sugar bricks content in every fruit, and we test cherries. Now, what makes a good cherry and a bad cherry?
I mean, I'm just thinking, you know, sweet. I mean, it's just the rating of how much sugar there is in there.
So a really tart, a really bad cherry, you're talking about 4 to 5 bricks. A really good cherry, we're talking about 14 bricks.
Really? 3 times the amount.
Yeah, and that makes a great difference on the eating experience. Now, what we do is we work with our growers. Not only do we know what we target for our guests in the stores, because we want a great eating experience, what we do is we actually have them test it before, have them test it during, and then when we receive, before we ship to the stores.
So have you ever turned down a truckload of cherries?
Absolutely.
No kidding. I mean, those go to the other stores, of course, and your attention to detail really sets you apart.
Absolutely. It's what makes a difference on the eating experience.
Okay, well, I have these delicious brownies. I have to put a little bit of whipped cream on them and a nice cherry on top. Jonah, I put the brownies in a 350 oven, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on your oven. I'm telling you, they're so ooey and gooey and delicious. But I like to say maybe this is a Black Forest brownie. I really never gave them a name, but that's more like it. A little bit of whipped cream, just a dollop right on top of each one before you serve it. Or you don't have to put the whipped cream on. You can just start eating anytime you want. Along with, if you'll grab some of your favorite cherries right there and put them right on top. If I had time, I would have made maybe a chocolate or cherry syrup and drizzled this on top. I could make a brownie sundae with some ice cream. So many different ways to serve this, but this is just absolutely beautiful, delicious. What a great presentation. And of course, like I said, I brought you in. You're the authority on these cherries. You picked out the best ones. Look at the color. This is something else. I cannot wait to grab a few, and I said a few brownies to enjoy, my friend.
I'm taking those for my kids.
Oh yeah, come on, enjoy, enjoy. My friends, you cannot help but make this recipe. It is one of my best, and I'm telling you, you're not gonna get a complaint out of anyone with this one. Brought to you by Hen House Markets.